Welcome to the February 21st, 2020 Payroll Solutions Community Live Q&A. Today we are going to be talking about the new federal W-4 and what that means for your employees and possibly for yourself. And I'm going to share my screen here so that we can see the W-4 while we're talking about it. All right, things are always in the way when you do a Zoom screen share, so I'm just moving things out of the way. All right, so the most important parts about this W-4 is step 1, where you fill in your name, your social security number, your address, and your filing status. And I think these are pretty self-explanatory. The biggest change, though, is you used to have single, married, head of household, or and then you had married but withhold at the higher single rate. So now they've combined the single and married filing separately. You've got married filing jointly or qualified widower. And head of household, which is new, you can only file that if you are a head of a household, meaning you are supplying 50% or more of the living expenses for a qualifying individual. And the other important section of the new W-4 is step 5, where you sign it and date it. And as always, the employer's only section where you put in the employer's name, address, and date of first employment, and the employer's EIN is still pretty optional. And then steps 2 through 4, you fill out only if they apply to you. So basically, step 2 applies to you if you work multiple jobs or if you're married and your spouse works. Step 3 is where you claim the dependents. So if your income is $200,000 or less, if you're single, or $400,000 or less if you're married filing jointly, you put $2,000 in here for all the number of children that you have under the age of 17, and then you multiply the number of dependents by 500 and get the total that you put in line 3. Step 4, you figure out your income, your other income, but not from a job, the deductions, or if you want to have extra withholding, then you can put that number in 4C. And there are a lot of instructions that go along with this. I'm just skipping over. I just abbreviated this page of instructions. And this is your worksheet for completing step 2 if you have multiple jobs. And I'm not going to read every line here, but just know that if you have 2 jobs, you put, or 3 jobs or more jobs, you fill all this out. And it includes these fun tax tables, which can be a little bit difficult to read, but basically, if this is this column is for your annual taxable wages and salary, and if you have another, so this is for job 1, this is for job 2, and let's say that you have your higher paying job is $60,000 and your lesser paying job is $60,000. $6,570 would be your tax liability if you were married filing joint. And the tax tables are very similar, they just have different numbers in them. So say you're single, your tax liability with the same $60,000 and $60,000 jobs would be $7,890. Had a household with the same $60,000 and $60,000 it would be 10,200. So that's the tax table. And people are always going to their HR department or payroll processing company to say, how do I fill this out? What do I need to put? And unfortunately, the only qualified person that can answer this question for you is your tax preparer. So what I've been doing for Payroll Solutions Plus, when clients come to us and ask how their employees should fill this out, I always give them one to fill out, and just if they need help, because the beautiful thing with W-4s is you can still fill out as many as you need to during the year. So just to get them on payroll, I have them fill out step 1 and step 5, and I send them another one that is blank that they can take to their tax preparer, and their tax preparer can help them fill out steps 2, 3, and 4, because they're the only ones that know the full tax liability, the full tax responsibility for any of your employees, or even yourself if you're an S Corp and you want to know how to fill this stuff out. Another place that people can go look to figure out what their tax liability is supposed to be is irs.gov/individuals/tax withholding estimator. And I am going to throw this link in the Facebook Live, and I am not seeing it. So I will throw this on as soon as I get done. Oh, here we go. It was just on my other screen. All right, so there's the link to the tax withholding estimator. So you basically gather up all of your tax information, like your pay stubs, so fill out your filing status. So I would be married filing jointly. Can someone else claim me as a dependent on their tax return? No. Do I plan to claim dependents on my tax return? And since all of our kids are old enough and they're out of the house, I will say no. Do you or will you or your spouse hold a job this year with paychecks which federal income taxes regularly withheld? And my husband still has a full-time job, so we will say yes. How many jobs do you expect to hold this year? So me, I expect to hold 0 jobs because I have my own business. And how many jobs does your spouse expect to hold this year, which will be 1? Will we be receiving a pension? No. And depending on how you answer the questions, it brings up different options. So if you have dependents, you can pick how many dependents you have. So let's just say you've got 4 kids, and so you'll have 4 dependents, and then it pops up. And the beautiful thing is you can play with different scenarios and you're not going to lose the information that you've already put in. I'm not going to completely fill all of this out, but I guess we are in step 5 of 5. We will receive income from self-employment. Let's see. All right, so we're on the next part where we're putting in our sources of income, which would be, in my case, my spouse's job and my self-employment. And let's just throw some numbers in here. Every 2 weeks, let's say that today is payday. I really don't know when he gets paid, but we'll go with today. And the total wages that they expect to receive this year. Let's just, we've been using 60,000, so let's just throw in 60,000, even though that is not accurate. So we have not, it's the beginning of the year, so no bonuses, but let's just say there's a $2,000 bonus at Christmas time, and that the employer is going to withhold appropriate taxes from bonuses. All right, which this year, the appropriate bonus tax withheld is 22% federal withholding. Oh, see, and now I'm not going to be able to answer this because I don't know what these answers are, but let's just say 1,500 has been withheld so far, and the amount on the last check, let's see, about, just to make the math simple, let's say 1,200, and the amount withheld on the last check was 300 because we're about 4 paychecks into the year so far. And we'll just say no, no. Self-employment income, let's just say 80,000 because we're making up numbers. And I have not paid in any federal income tax. Let's just go to the next step. We'll do the standard deduction, and you'll obviously fill this in with you, and we're not doing. Okay, so according to this, at the way that things are going right now, the expected underpayment is $13,913. So this is a really good way to, and obviously these are all estimated numbers, but it'll give you a really good, it's a good place to start and figure out how you're going to fill out your W-4, especially if you're self-employed and your spouse isn't, then you can, in this case, we would want to have at least another $1,000 of federal income tax withheld from my spouse's paycheck every month. So that would equate to about $475 per paycheck. So let's see, I am going to stop sharing my screen now, and I'm going to take a peek at the Facebook and see if anybody has any questions on what I've just shown. And I am not seeing any yet, but if you are watching this on the replay, please make sure if you have questions, please make sure you put those in the comment section below. And thank you all for watching.